You, ladies and gentlemen, to have this conversation, I'm delighted to have one of the most qualified people. I think the most qualified person in this regard. He's an administrator at the Uganda Safety Council. Ladies and gentlemen, none other than Mr. Byahama Beston. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Looking sharp in that.
Putting on a suit on a Friday.
That suit, man. It is, I don't know, usually they say, who are you wearing? But
I'm wearing Uganda Safety Council.
How are you doing, Beston? The last time you were here, you were advising us on the same. It seems we have not learned.
Good morning, viewers. I'm so excited to have you, Godwin, once again. And speaking the same language,
yes,
safety. So it's always a privilege to talk about something that can save a life.
Yes,
it's always a privilege. So I'm so happy to be here.
You see, so how is Uganda? What's definitely the mandate of Uganda, Safety Council? We're going to talk about schools, but I want to make sure that people really appreciate the training and the mentorship and the people that you're churning out to ensure that this is a generally acceptable practice, and hopefully every organization can have someone to ensure safety in their space.
All right. Uganda Safety Council is registered under the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, and our services are in three categories. Inspections, whereby we can be invited to your company, to your family, to anything, and to schools, any kind of organization, as long as you have people within that organization. Yes, we can come in there, inspect you, and give you advice or a report showing you how safe you are. And we also do trainings, occupational health and safety trainings. Uganda Safety Council has been around for a long time. We came into existence in 2008.
Wow, that's especially at the time when safety was not a highly appreciated thing.
Our CEO already did a very good job to think about Uganda, because she's a resident of the UK, but she's a daughter of the land. So when she saw about safety that side in the UK, and she came in our country, Uganda, to see that she lifts it up.
Yes,
we are picking it up right now. We are taking it up. We are helping lives out there. So we do trainings also. We have two types of trainings. We have professional trainings, whereby like someone trains to go and execute some job out there. And then we also train people to live and work safely.
So it's not just about the environment, but also about you, the individual who is occupying that environment. That's pretty amazing. I'm sure by now you've had stories of dormitory that was housing blind students that caught fire, and scores dying of suffocation or fires. I've seen really pictures of mothers and grandmothers crying the loss of their loved ones, their children who they thought that despite the fact that they were they were impaired, visually impaired, or they could not see, they had some hope, because they were learning, they were being equipped, and to have that hope
taken away just like that,
to have that life, your daughter, taken away, is not a good experience. But I wish I could say that it is the first fire, and yet it is not. And we're going to, I hope the discussions that we have are not merciful. Question is, why don't we learn as Ugandans? Why have we failed to learn as Ugandans before we blame the nation, as institutions, and as the government? And why have we refused to appreciate this element of safety?
I've been looking through all the reports that we have been producing, that police and all other organizations have been producing. There is one thing that we need to do. One, when there is what we call intermediate causes of something, and there is what we call underlying causes of something. Now, when you look at all these reports that have been produced when these fires happen, they are all intermediate. It's very easy to say this fire was there because
electrocution.
Electrocution.
Or TBDT.
Someone came in with petrol and burnt the school. But you see, you can't base on that to produce a solution. So when you look at all these reports, you ask them, what is the solution? How can we stop the reoccurrence? And now, I think what we need to do is that we need to hand this responsibility to competent people. Let me tell you, Godwin. There is what we call accident investigation in occupational health and safety.
I see three things before you. I'm seeing why we have failed to learn. One, you've mentioned incompetent people in those spaces. The second one, we're using intermediate problems or causes to hopefully come up with long-term solution. And those are critical things.
Let me tell you, Godwin. You're going to go to a school, okay? And I want you to make research and see who reacts when these fires happen. Do they have the competent lenses it takes to produce the remedies to stop the reoccurrence? Because let me tell you, in accident investigation, like I was telling you, there is what we call 5 whys. Yes, it started from electrocution. Maybe there were sparks and fire started. But there are 5. What is the real cause that socket produced fire?
So was it bad wiring?
Was it bad wiring? Was it overloaded conductor? And until you find, let me give you a simple example. A socket will spark because a percolator was connected to it. And remember, it is in a dormitory. So now, the fake report will say it's because of electricity. But then if someone who is competent comes on ground, they will not blame the electricity. They will ask themselves, why did the socket spark? It was a percolator. Is it allowed by the school's bylaws to have a percolator in the dormitory? No.
I'm sorry to interject.
Yes.
I was interacting with one student a couple of years ago, and they told me how they access electricity in dormitories. It is insane.
Very insane.
You know these water cookers, the heaters? And even those percolators, some of them use the light bulbs. They find wires and tap on the electricity.
Connect on negative and on positive.
And then they cook.
They boil down
and
there.
And then illegally they take off. So, you know.
So that's why I was saying that there needs to be some high level of awareness. And also, I think schools need to take up the responsibility. When you read through these, like the Occupational Health and Safety Act 2006, you look at the responsibilities of the employer.
Yes.
The obligations that, because Uganda is a member of international labor organizations, we are so much attached when it comes to these laws. Now, it means that the owner of the school or the employer or anyone who is representing the high office in that school must know what their responsibility is. And after they know that, then they see how can they execute their responsibility, even up to the last part.
Yes, yes.
Now the challenge is that these employers sometimes are not exposed to this information. So we need to create awareness.
Massive awareness.
Yes.
Let's talk about what are some of the basic causes of fires in schools, you know, at least from the reports, or even the things that people, you know, like the way you've said, the thing behind the thing that people don't see. But what are some of those causes of fires or such emergency or accidents in schools, hospitals, offices? Yes.
Thank you very much. I think the #1 cause of fires in schools has been deliberate causes. Deliberately puts on fire.
Okay.
Deliberately puts on fire to burn the school. That has been #1. #2 is electrical faults. You find that there is too much, I can call it, evil wirings in these schools. And remember, tusuka netugenda ate mu kintu ekirala wire genda mu socket solab wire abaana bateekamu byonna bye baagala, and time comes when it becomes like a habit, and at the end of the day there are mattresses in the dormitories, and a mattress is like fuel. It's like petrol. When it catches fire.
I wanted us to go back on the. I've seen with my own eyes, before you go to the next stage of construction, an electrical inspector comes, not here of course, and says, now you can continue. You know, a plumbing inspector comes and says, I think everything is okay. The gas inspector comes and says, yeah, everything is okay. Structural, you know, engineer says you can continue to the next level. Do you find that that happens in this country? Or are we competent, or are we equipped enough in terms of human resource? I hear you get permission, KCCA, what, but those things actually happen.
Those are some of the challenges we are having, because there are some things that you look at, and these electricians, the people you were talking about, the structural engineers, the civil engineers, they also need to study occupational health and safety. Because you can look at, you can be accurate as far as the architecture bit of it is concerned. But as far as safety is concerned, and I think we've had a challenge like in Africa, whereby most people have looked at occupational health and safety as a by the way, and this is the root of the problems that we are having. Is it expensive? Not expensive at all.
Because someone, I mean, the price of cement is high. So if you, the occupation guy, you're telling me we need this space, more concrete, and maybe it's...
Yeah, that's actually, let me tell you, health and safety might be expensive, but you can't compare it to losing a life.
That's true.
You see, every time you wake up to go to work, you tell your family, see you in the evening.
See you later.
Yeah. So it's very bad for someone to come and report your work. And this is a very clear message to you all employers out there. When I talk about the employer, I mean anyone who employs anyone. So if someone has left their home to come and work, why don't you put arrangements to see that this person does not go back dead or injured? You get what I'm saying? So these things are not expensive. You can't compare them to lose a life or to get total disability.
So one of the causes, you mentioned many, fire, deliberate cause.
Deliberate cause. I think another cause that I've seen like in these fires is misused equipment, and that's what exactly you were talking about. Someone, and you see, these things are all controllable if we create awareness. If time comes, I will tell you the program that we have as Uganda Safety Council to help these schools come. You will get surprised that all this problem can be stepped on if we create awareness, if these people know what to do. Someone is going to bring this percolate and they will be jubilating because this is a young boy. He's either 14 or 15 or 18, so he just wants hot water. He doesn't care. He doesn't know that fire might start and it is going to destroy the rest of...
it's illegal. They catch them, you leave it, you don't take it off, and then fire.
So you find there are so many misused equipment in schools. Another cause is smoking. You see, we are in an era whereby students watch movies, and you know, like it's cool to smoke in a movie because the best actor smokes, and it is not allowed in the school. So this child is going to get an opportunity in the class. They are going to smoke, and as they are smoking, they have to smoke hiding. And where are they going to be hiding? Because when you look at the state of our dormitories in most schools, you find that someone is sleeping almost closer to the ceiling.
If not,
almost closer to the ceiling.
But that was a high privilege, my friend.
That was a high privilege. Like someone be like, oh, to sleep up there, you must be a cool guy, strong, or something like that. And then this person starts up smoking. And as they are smoking, maybe the matron or a teacher comes in. What are they going to do? They're going to put it either somewhere or under the mattress. Fire. So
I wanted you to talk about the structural dynamics of of our buildings more than ever before. There are many high rises in the northern part of Kampala, in terms of apartments and what, and I don't know whether there are fire escapes where the beautiful structures of late, but I don't know whether that's this particular building had one door, as in even the wind, that whole mentality. I don't know, is there a standard of construction of such a facility in terms of if a space has that, if a space maybe if 20 people sleep here, you need to have 2 doors or 3 doors of 2 exits. You understand? Because it seems like we are cramming people in the same space.
Yeah, that's a very serious.
Structurally, is there any standard?
I think now the government needs to appreciate the fact that the way we build has changed, because most of the buildings, you find a building has approval from KCCA, from all those authorities.
Yes.
But as far as safety is concerned,
or the plan is different from the actual building.
Now, and now this is the thing. Most of the buildings, if the fire starts closer to the entrance, people will say the last prayer. they will have a chance to say the last prayer because we don't have any exit plan. There are 3 levels that I think every organization needs to look at.
You can maybe end with that, then we'll go for the break.
Okay. One is preventive measures.
Yes.
Do you have any preventive measures in place? These preventive measures are just to make sure that fire does not happen. But let's say fire has happened. Do you have escape plan? Do you have evacuation plan that these people, even though fire has happened, they can still escape and we don't lose lives at least? And after that, we also need to know, after like the evacuation is there, where do they go? You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Do they have and do they know, are they equipped with evacuation knowledge on how do I evacuate? Because someone can see fire. I was reading a certain story of a certain young boy, 14 years of age. He was trapped by fire. He was trapped by fire on the way from the bathroom. He was naked. There was a room for him to escape, but he feared to escape while naked and went to pick up his clothes, and that's how he lost his life.
No.
But that was a result because this person had not trained evacuation. Because one thing they train in evacuation is that you don't have to consider anything.
You are your first priority.
You're the first priority.
Bester, I'm going to ask that we go for a break.
Okay.
Because when we return, I'm dying to share an exam in this huge auditorium. So it so happened that one of us went through an emergency exit. And the alarm went off. So if but to them, there was it triggered an emergency response. Why? Keep calm, look for the nearest exit, go to the assembly point, and make sure you look out for whoever you're seated or whoever you know over now. So all of a sudden we saw people, going out, walking out, and we were like, what's happening? So even as we were, we were among the last ones because we were like, Tetula Bamuka, we don't see anything. So we moved out. And shortly after, the police came through to ascertain whether there was a fire. And then before you know it, they said it's a false alarm. But then they advised, they tried to find out which door, who was there. And then they were like, sorry, it happened. But, it was a cultural lesson for us all. Yeah. So for me, it's the response of the authorities. It turns out that alarm was, connected to a trigger system at the police station. So the moment it goes off, they don't have to be called. They said there is this alarm, it's on this address, it's a public building, we need to go and check it out. And immediately they sent an advance team before the fire. And not only that, the people, it's like all of them were taught You know, it's like they knew what to do. Just stay calm. You know, they did. No one was shouting. Everyone just walked out properly, and it was amazing. It was a beautiful sight to see. Now that I think about it, you know, maybe the biggest question, I've seen a few fire drills at the parliament, of which, by the way, MPs complained that it was messing up with their business. These fire drills. There's a workplace where I was at, and they also had a fire drill. They didn't tell us, but it's only after we went out that they said the evacuation speed was not as fast, so it's something that they wanted us to improve. It was done by the Uganda police. So such things, but it was a shock. Even if you are in the shop that was outside, you had to make sure that you evacuate the building. You know, probably, maybe we can talk about that briefly in terms of massive awareness, or how do we equip in this regard the children in those schools, in those dormitories, and then the teachers, and then the people in those different workforces? What kind of training do you offer such a population? Or is it even required anyway?
Well, before we went for a break, there is, I was telling you about the 3 steps that are supposed to be followed in any organization. And I told you about fire prevention measures. These are measures you put in place. In your capacity, you might not have the equipment to do what exactly you were telling about the fire alarms, or that automated system. You might not have that capacity.
But there is something you can do.
But at least there is something that you can do to make sure that you prevent fire from happening.
Yes.
Number 2 is firefighting.
Okay.
If fire has happened, how do I fight it? Do I have measures or arrangements in place that because fire always starts as a small thing. All these fires that you see, most of them start as a small thing, that if that fire was discovered by a person who knows what to do at that particular moment, there wouldn't have been any fire.
For example, here, if fire catches and you look for the nearest, maybe the tap is, you have to go outside.
By the time you
come back, or you don't even know where the fire extinguisher is. And
even if it is there, you don't even know how to use it. I can guarantee you, most fire extinguishers that you see around, people around them don't know how to use them.
Really?
That's the challenge. Then the last one is evacuation. So there are 3. You must have measures on how to prevent fire. And then you must have measures on how to fight fire, just in case it comes up. And then also how to evacuate.
But you have another point that you mentioned in there, a qualified personnel, or someone, or people, or an enlightened population, or someone who knows what to do.
That's the point I'm going to now. Now, for you to have all those 3 stages, you must have a competent personnel. And let me share with you, schools out there, you don't need to hire a fire marshal out there. Those same people that you have in a school, maybe as security people or as doses,
teachers,
you can just train them and make them at least gain some knowledge and some experience, and they can help to extend that knowledge and the culture throughout the entire school.
Or in this regard, do they call them matrons? The ones?
Matron. Actually, I think there are some countries that have been making some research. There are some countries now, you cannot go in a school until you have fire safety training
first
aid.
Yes.
Even in driving, you can't get a driving license without those 2 trainings. So I think we need to adopt, and these things are very cheap. Matter of fact, they are very cheap, almost free. These schools you see organize big parties, and they spend a lot of money. So, and another thing I think is that actually, to answer your question, we need to create awareness. Let me tell you, when fire starts, it will ask you 2 things. 1, are you trained? You get what I'm saying?
Fire. When growing up, they just beat you not to go closer to fire. They don't train you.
Yes, but when they train you about fire safety, the first thing that you appreciate is the calmness that when you see fire. Personally, I've ever been in a restaurant. You know these restaurants, you sit in a restaurant and a lady she had long hair. So as she was flying, the hair caught fire. And this is what happened. People, all of them were running. And she was also running. And the way she was running, she was exposing her hair to oxygen and fireworks.
Yes.
And the fire extinguishers were there. I remember there's a certain lady who went and picked a fire extinguisher, but when she saw her, she dropped it down. She even fell down and registered injury. So I came and got to the fire extinguisher and did the rest of the work calmly. So calmness comes as a result of training.
Yes.
If we don't cause awareness, because if these students are trained, okay, you can even have like on assembly on let's say on Monday, you have 10 minutes for someone to prepare the students. If you see fire, this is what to do. These are the don'ts, these are the do's. Then you also extend that culture to the security people. These things are very easy.
Have those closed group training, you know.
Yeah, those. Then the staff. Because, you know, schools open. People come in and people go. But the staff needs to be trained. Needs to be trained. And these things are not very expensive. When you come at Uganda Safety Council, matter of fact, if you allow me to talk about it.
Please go ahead.
We have an arrangement that we are putting up for schools. We are already working with some schools. And it's called NGAF. Next Generation Against Fires in schools. And we are doing it literally for free. If a school invites us, you come and call us, Uganda Safety Council, we shall come at your school. We do a site visit. We carry out gap analysis with school. Because there is a culture of training. When a new employee comes, you have to train them that this is how we do our things. Let me tell you something about the alarm system.
Induction, yes.
In alarm system, that is where chaos is somewhere. Some schools you find they have alarm systems. Okay? But who knows them? Because this can be a normal bell. So someone might hear a bell and think maybe it's a break, a break
time. These days they have those electric ones, yes.
So training and awareness equips these students and the staff about what to run from. What is this for fire? Is this for break? Is this for porridge? So for you to have that kind of arrangement in place, it's very cheap, but it takes you to have training and awareness.
Yes.
So what we need to do, and this is going to be the solution, is to create awareness. To create awareness. There are some.
Give me more details on that NGF.
Yeah. You know. NGAF is something we initiated as Uganda Safety Council. We sat down. Because you go to a school and the school tells you guys are expensive. Now we are coming, we are saying, no, we just want to help. We just want to help. Because when you look at the core reason why Uganda Safety Council was formed, it wasn't all about money. It's not about money, but it is about safeguarding lives, you see. So we are just going to go to schools, okay? Mostly schools.
On invitation.
On invitation, of course, you can. And then we come, we carry out gap analysis. We visit your school, we look at your dormitories, we advise you. There are some schools that already have arrangements in place. We can tell you touch here, place a button here, and all that kind of stuff. Where we see there is a requirement of training, then we can give it to you. Where we see there is no requirement of training, we can help you to ensure there is continuity in that good culture. And that's what NGAF is all about. We are equipping students and staff to make sure that they can deal with fires. There are countries that don't register such incidents.
Yes.
Because they have put an arrangement in schools and people know what to do just in the case of fire. So it does not create any alarm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really, really profound. I wanted us to, again, briefly talk about, I know this is at an institutional level, but how about at a family level? And I'm talking about at home, where you stay. Do you have any safety measures, you know, because they say charity begins at home. What measures can someone do, or how do you start inculcating this, you know, idea or this culture of safety at home?
Thank you very much for that. when you visit homes today, most of them are using LPG gas, liquefied petroleum gas, for cooking. And
I didn't even know it was sounded like a weapon, LPG.
LPG.
Yes.
So it's liquefied petroleum gas. Let me tell you, when you want to buy LPG, you buy like as if you're buying toilet paper. True. There is no any person to tell you this is how. You just go to the petrol station and be like, how much is this? They give it to you.
Safe. No one is coming to your home to test if it's.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. The size of the cylinder that you have at your home, that is the size of the bomb that you have.
Wait. If in movies this small bomb like this can kill men, you mean I have a missile?
The size of the cylinder, if you have 6 kgs, you have a 6 kg in your house and it is a bomb. You get what I'm saying? This, and by the way, first and foremost, before these cylinders can even burst, I went to a certain school and I asked the chef, how do you check gas? And she said, I come and get this gas cylinder when it is going to get empty and shake it. And I was like, wow.
I must confess, in fact, I just shake a little bit and then
And that is very dangerous because when this gas is compressed, it becomes more like a liquid. So if you shake it, it can look for a way to escape. So we have seen cases where cylinders burst, and that is a scenario that you wouldn't want to witness. 2, these gases are highly combustible. Just by mere putting it up and you delay for 5 minutes to put the light on,
that's filled the house.
That's fire already. And so many homes have suffered losses and we have lost people in such cases. So when we talk about fire safety at home, the first thing we need to know is that we need to have safety conscious minds at home. If you have a maid or someone who does the cooking at home, as a head of a house, are you sure that person has received some kind of training? Does
even the head of the house, have they also received any training?
That's what exactly I was telling you. That actually I was talking to a friend of mine and he told me, we are sitting on a time bomb. As the families are becoming more urban, people are using electricity and gas to cook.
Those days you would cook from outside.
You get your firewood, and you know firewood is not so much. You can fire starts, you can power water there. But now you have electricity. You have a cooker.
You can't pour water on electricity.
You can't power water on electricity. You have gas. So fire might start, the cylinder is there. So it's the first thing that I think families should do. One, that simple kind of training. So
they can call you to have that training?
Definitely.
Wow.
They can call us, they can... Actually, even if we don't come physically, I can ask you, what kind of arrangements do you have?
Maybe the next time we have you here, we're going to have that kind of training for home gas, and we can literally come with the gas cylinder and then have some kind of training for people. That's really profound.
How do you check a gas? How do you check a gas?
You shake. You can't hear. You shake.
You can't shake a gas.
Yes. And we don't have... I saw one company that was selling metered gas. So you see that a Guam, then you pay for what you've used. Yes.
But you see these meters, it also depends on the care. A meter, there's meters that can work for a very short time, and then sometimes it goes off without your knowledge.
And then you have to talk about calibration and things like that.
It's better to have trainings about and awareness. Another thing that I wanted to talk about maybe as last is how do you deal with fire? What type of fire extinguisher am I going to use?
Talk about that.
When you see, we have what we call classifications of fires. Not every fire extinguisher puts a certain class of fire. There is what we have. We have class A, class B. So, for instance, if let's say if electricity fire is on, you don't use water. If fire is burning and it has started with electrical conductors, you don't use water extinguishers.
Unfortunately, the first instinct of a Ugandan is water.
Is water. And also fats, like for restaurants. If you have a restaurant and you're out there and you're cooking fats, and fire starts from there, and you try to bring other extinguishers that are not suitable for that class of fire, you're going to cause more havoc.
How about chemicals?
Yeah, chemicals.
Like the one we saw at, is it Hima? Yes, that even with the equipment that they have, fire went on.
There's some chemicals that need specified fire extinguishers for them. You know, you can't just come and start dealing with them. So all that takes us back to creating awareness. You know, it is until you start training that you realize you need more training about some things. And that's when you realize that you've been taking life for granted. So the solution to Uganda, the solution to the schools, the solution to homes is creating awareness and trainings. And it starts with me, and then it goes to you, and then we can extend it to the rest of the people.
Beston, I'm going to ask that you give us a contact for people out there, maybe a contact, an email, so that, I mean, we don't leave people hanging. You probably could be their first point of contact in terms of safety, health and safety in their workplaces. And you mentioned something critical about institutions as well. And I thought it would be wise you mention how you are now partnering with institutions like Kyambogo to make sure that before even these professionals graduate and engineers, you've added, you know, practical elements of health and safety so that it is within their education. Please talk briefly about that before you give the contact.
Yeah, I've had a very good relationship with most students from universities, but not on a university level. I am working closely with Kyambogo University students, mostly those who are doing environmental engineering. And I went there and did a presentation about safety, and most of them, because these engineering courses, they study safety, but they study the second part of safety, the hazards and risk control. So they don't study how to manage safety, and which is the core of safety. So they appreciated that they need to learn, and they came, and we are really building something. And most of them, by the way, have gotten some things to do out there.
And I think we need to welcome all other institutions in that regard. So
Makerere, everywhere you can come. And one thing about safety is that you don't have, even if you're coming from mass communication, even if you're coming from engineering, even if you're a doctor, even if it does not, because we need to live healthy.
It's everywhere.
Even if you're working with psychological people, if any area you're in, you can train and become a safety practitioner.
Beston, I'm going to ask that you give us a contact, email or whatever form that people can reach you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to advise that you can go on our website. We have a website, www.ugandasafetycouncil.com, or you can call us. I'm going to give you the mobile number. It is 0701 10 61 68. That contact is actually also on our website. Or you can send us an email at info. An email is info@ugandasafetycouncil.com. We shall respond. For you schools that want our services, we are just right there at your door. You just need to go on our website, call our numbers, and then we shall come and help you put safety and mostly fire safety arrangements in place for the safeguard of your students, your staff, and even your neighbors, because safety does not stop on you as an institution, but also the people around you.
Wow, that's amazing. I want to leave you with something, if you are watching us, that you know what, always be moderate and patient. There is nothing as get rich quick or, you know, fast food richness and things like that. all wealth that is accumulated, and it is accumulated over a period of time. So be patient and just know that at the right time, if you're doing the right things, things will add up. So don't just go for those